man feels pity for a young lady standing on the same train, not realizing what she had done. But before we start, please make sure to subscribe to m&rtv and hit the bell so you never miss any upload from us. Also, leave a like right now. In China, the train is one of the most popular modes of transportation. In a crowded city, we all know that trains are flooded with people. Some folks have to stand the whole time, and even in a crowded train, there will always be kind people who will sacrifice their seats for the elderly or the needy. This old man, however, did something strange, offering his seat to a young lady. So in a big city, trains are easy and quick means to get to where anyone wants to go. They are a cheap means to travel long distances. And so in China, a lot of people would often choose to take the train in order for them to get from one city to the next. Trains indeed offer easy transport, but are they the most comfortable? Certainly not. So places like China, where the population is to the extreme, people cannot expect to have a pleasant journey. There is always a certain amount of discomfort, as it is a public mode of transport. Especially during the day, these trains get jam-packed, so people do not necessarily get a space to sit. There are standing tickets being sold too. There are several trains that service all across the country. Civilians get to use these trains to reach their destination. But China, as we all know, is crowded, so these trains usually get flooded with people eager to get where they need. And on a random day during the springtime, one of the trains travel from Chengdu to Hangzhou. And so what train is this, you ask? Well, it's called the K529 train. This train, as you might have already guessed, is almost always incredibly packed, and people who ride on this usually need to buy a standing ticket. And on that day, many of the passengers had to purchase the leftover standing tickets. So this was such a hectic day for some. The filled-up train was just another one among the rest that had come and gone. And so on this day, there was an elderly man who was riding the train. He had bought himself a standing ticket in order to get to the destination he wanted. He was many among the crowd on K529. Even though the train was indeed packed with people, he found that when he got inside, there was an empty seat. So, though he thought that his train would require standing, when he got inside, the empty seat showed otherwise. The elderly guy went in and hoping there was no one to claim the seat. So even though most days the train would never have an empty seat, this day was different. The old man was surprised to see a seat that was not taken. It was such a rare sight now because each train he would ride on would require standing. It was such a lucky day for him because what he hoped came true. The owner of this seat never came to claim it, so basically this seat was free. If no one was going to take it, then technically he could sit there, right? The train started to move and the old man was happy about the fact that he could rest his old bones. But soon after, the old guy made a very strange discovery. After taking the empty seat he saw on the train, the elderly man sat there. He was enjoying the fact that, for once, he was able to sit and rest his tired legs. But then, as soon as the elderly man took a look up from the seat he had taken, he could notice that a line of standing passengers had collected near him. And as he panned across the line of standing passengers around him, he made a startling discovery. He was innocently scanning through the folks on the train, and someone in particular took his attention. Someone there had stood out to him. There was a woman who seemed to be in her 20s, looking very weak. The old man was not expecting to see the sight he had witnessed that day. He saw a young lady standing there, and from the looks of it, she did not seem to be doing well at all. And the lady was obviously not well. In fact, she looked really sick. She looked to be in her 20s, so it was a little odd to see her so weak. As the old man paid more attention to the sick lady, he could see she was indeed very frail. As she had to stand there, he could make out that she was having trouble standing up. The passengers standing beside her were squashing her too. After seeing this, the old man went to ask her a question. Even though this old guy was glad to have been able to find a seat in the crowded train, he could not help but get distracted by what he saw. The old man grew even more curious after seeing her look so tired, and so he wanted to know what the young woman's deal was. It was all too strange to see her behave like that. After paying attention for a while, the old guy mustered up the courage to talk to her. He had to ask, "Miss, it is a suffering to stand on a moving train. You should have entered the train earlier like me and got a seat. When will the train arrive at your destination?" When the woman was questioned, she gave a response. So when the old man got too curious and could not resist asking what the matter was with the young lady, he waited for her response. The young woman then took one look down at the elderly guy who was sitting and assured him that she was okay. She then revealed that it would take about a day and a half to reach the place she needed to go to. So when she told him this, the old man got very shocked. Her response was indeed shocking because though she looked sick, she claimed she was fine. And also the old man found it unbelievable to learn that she had to keep standing for so long. He then needed to ask one more question. Would she make it? So when he asked the woman once again if she would be able to make it till her destination, she gave a response. The young lady then gave a reassuring answer, telling the elderly man that she would be fine, that she would reach her destination safely. She did not want to show that she was struggling so much. And so when the old man asked her, she did not want to trouble him, so she explained that she was doing okay. But just by looking at her, the old man was convinced that she was struggling. It was quite clear that this young woman was trying to stay strong. Then the old guy decided to do something sweet. And so after he could see that she was not well, that she was physically weak, the old man had to do something for her. And so since the old man had a seat on the train, he went on to offer the seat he had to this lady. The old man told the woman that she could take his seat right after it was his time to get off. And since he was getting off before she did, the old man knew the least he could do for her was to offer her this seat of his. And by the time they arrived at his station, he kept his word and informed the young lady that his seat was hers now. She was grateful for the old man and happily took the seat. As the crowd was jam-packed inside the train, the old man and the lady were lucky to be able to find seats. It is tiresome to stand for even one station, and to think that the lady would have to stand for more than a day was indeed shocking. When the train reached one of the stations, the old man was napping on the seat. The two of them could not wait to get down from the train and reach their destination. They really were tired of being squashed against strangers also riding the train, and as the old man was sleeping on the seat, the train conductor happened to walk around, checking the tickets. He then approached the young woman. As we all know, there are always crooks who decide to board on train and travel without tickets. As this is against the law, they need to be caught and taught a lesson. So right before the train departed from the station, the tickets were always checked. So the conductor then came near the woman to ask for her ticket. The conductor had to make sure that every passenger on the train had their tickets with them. After all, boarding a train without tickets is against the law. When he finally made his way to the lady, he grew a little curious. When the conductor saw her stand there with the ticket she was holding, he got confused. So when the conductor saw the ticket that the young, tired lady was holding, he was scratching his head, looking at her puzzled. In the train that was full of people standing, why was she standing too? He asked to see her ticket again and asked one question. "Miss, isn't this your seat? Why are you standing?" When the conductor wanted to know why she was standing there, she gave him an answer. The young woman gestured toward the elderly man who was napping and then explained, "He's a 70-year-old man with walking disability. It would be hard for him to stand, and the journey is going to be arduous for him." It turns out the woman knew that this was her seat all along, but did not have the heart to tell the elderly man that he had taken it. She thought he would be more in need of it than her. And upon hearing this, the train conductor shockingly responded, "You did not tell him this was your seat? He did not know about it?" So what was the reason for her not asking him to get up so that she could take her rightful seat? While the young lady gave a big smile and gave the conductor an explanation. To him, this was such a shocking act, as most people hurriedly get to their seats so that no one sits in them. She could not find it in her heart to ask him to move. After seeing how happy he was being able to sit in what he thought was an empty, unassigned chair, the young woman was touched. She could immediately tell that it had been a long time since the guy had sat on a public train. So the young lady simply did not wish for her seat to be returned to her. Since the conductor was so confused, she knew she had to explain once more. She then revealed how she felt that time she saw him happily sitting. "I did not have the heart to tell him. if he knew that was my seat, he would stand up and return it to me. She was indeed a selfless human being for giving up her seat. Upon hearing the truth behind the confusing sight, the train conductor was moved by this woman's generous nature. He was in awe and in disbelief that she did not want to tell the guide to get up out of her seat. Since he was so touched by the young lady's decision, the conductor decided to do something too. As soon as the train conductor saw that this lady was generous, he made a decision. Seeing that she did something so sweet, he figured that she needed to be given a reward of sorts. He requested her to join him in another part of the train, since he did not wish to disturb the sleeping elderly man. And the train conductor wanted to give something back to the lady. "Please follow me to the restaurant. I will find you an empty seat there," the train conductor requested, with a smile to the young woman. The woman then gladly went with him to the restaurant area. She was not expecting to get anything. And so after realizing how the lady in the train was, the conductor felt an obligation to do something sweet for her. Her kindness toward the elderly man allowed him to enjoy the journey on the train stress-free. To be able to help someone who needed her help was indeed a fulfilling feeling. No doubt the universe saw this and intervened. So we have learned that the young lady made a decision to show kindness and be selfless where she did not have to do so. And for most, this would not have been so easy. In crowded public transport, we all want to be as comfortable as we can, don't we? She truly serves as an inspiration to be selfless and a blessing even to strangers.